Hold on, this is supposed to automatically come back around.
There you go. No,
No, I have. Well, that's it right. Ooh,
they're
come
still
back.
sideways.
Hold on, let me see. Mhm.
It was fine before.
Um, Welcome everyone. I'm just sorting out some things technically. Um,
Okay, Vance. You got it.
okay. Okay. So welcome everyone, and welcome to our service this evening. I'm your host, practitioner Vance Gardner. So as we start, we usually start with prayer. So just join me in this opening affirmative prayer. So we just recognize the living Spirit Almighty, the one presence, the one life. I know that this life is the life of everyone who participates in this evening. Indeed, it's the life of all. So we know that the life of God is our life, no? So we know that this life is a life that sustains us. It's a life that maintains us. It's the life that expresses us, each and every one of us. It is wonderful. It is marvelous. So we just allow this gentle presence to express through us this evening in this service. And I know that everyone who participates is blessed in their own way. And it's a blessing to everyone they meet. So for this, I am thankful. And I just release these words now, knowing that it is so. And so it is. So I was going to ask us to just center ourselves, just breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. And just become aware of the gentle presence that is breathing as each and every one of us. And as we breathe in, let's just become aware of love. And if there is anything unlike love in our awareness, let's just release it as we breathe out. So let us just relax as we breathe in and we breathe out. And as we inhale, just become receptive, more receptive to this presence. And exhale. And we just spend a few moments in silence now. And so it is. When I was preparing for this service this evening, and I was thinking about the name for the service, the name is taken from an article in this month's Science of Mind magazine, Guide for Spiritual Living, entitled the same as the service, A Gentle Loving Presence. And it's also influenced by an article by our founder, Ernest Holmes in the same magazine titled Words in the Sand. And those two articles are well worth reading. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, they are well worth reading. And so I'll be mentioning some of what they said. But while preparing, one of my favorite songs kept coming back to me. You know, and at one time I was even thinking of titling today's service after one of my favorite songs. But I said it probably wouldn't sound appropriate to title the service The Gardener, given that I'm the person doing the service. So I said, no, you can't name it the Gardener, because my name is Vance Gardner. So that I said that probably wouldn't go over too well, naming it the Gardener. So I named it A Gentle Loving Presence, which is what we are in a way. But we are also all gardeners. As the article, A Gentle Loving Presence, was talking about that we are stewards of the earth and stewards of each other in a way, of the one life, which is God's life, which is that gentle presence that sometimes we're not even aware of how wonderful this presence is, because it wakes us up every morning. It allows us to sleep, regenerate our bodies, and keeps us alive, and provide for us wonderful things, all that we require. It's our all sufficiency. And it's the same thing in nature. And in the article, Diana Ensign, who wrote it, she said that when we are rooted in spirit, we are just like trees, that we can stand to the winds of change, help to nourish each other, and stand stronger together. And as a gentle, loving presence, we can help to build each other. And I'll tell you a story that helps to foster that idea a little later on. And then Ernest Holmes now, in the Words in the Sand, gives us the practices that we can use to become more of a gentle, loving presence. And the reason why I thought of the gardener, and gardening is a form of spiritual practice. I don't know if any of you are gardeners or look after flowers. And when you're dealing with flowers, you have to be gentle, you have to be present, and you just admire the beauty of nature in flowers like roses and all of these flowers, and develop your appreciation of nature. And somebody who I know was a gardener, he was also my former headmaster at Kingston College, Douglas Forest. Oh, I knew this. He gave me a holiday job to sort out his papers after he had left KC. He gave me a holiday job to help him to sort out his papers. And he would do his gardening and he would play classical music. Now, to illustrate what type of person Mr. Forrest was, or as we call him, Dogs. I remember one time our class was giving a teacher a very hard time. And she reported us to Mr. Forrest, and he came in, and what he had us do was to listen to classical music for a whole period. And we learned to appreciate classical music. So when I was around him and listening to things like listening to Paul Robeson and so on, it really developed a great appreciation in myself for classical music. And some of the music calmed us down. Another time when we ran into problems again with our teacher, he disciplined us by allowing us, the class, to come over to the cathedral to be the audience for the chapel choir. Yeah, so we were able to listen to the recital of the chapel choir. And that was his way of disciplining us in a loving way, in developing our appreciation for music and some of these other, what some people may call the finer things in life. But the story that really touched me the most was, there was a story told by Robert Fletcher, who some of us may know. And Fletcher was saying that, because Fletcher was in the choir, and he was saying that a member of the choir was missing when they were going to have a performance. And Doug was so concerned about this member of the choir who lived in one of the more what we'd call depressed areas around Spanish Town, Fletcher was saying. And he wasn't able to find the appropriate dress and things to come to the choir, to come to the performance. When Doug sort of heard about that, Doug's got his blazer and thing, got a blazer and thing together, went down to Spanish Town, looked for this person, and tell him that he has to be at the performance because he's one of the most important students at Kingston College. And that young man today is a noted neurosurgeon. He's not so young anymore, he's a big, big man. Sorry. And that encounter changed his life. So that being that loving presence at that time, Doug's was able to, as Fletch put it, love that person into being, love him into expressing his fullest potential. And that is what it means to be a loving, gentle, loving presence. Now, my favorite song, The Gardener, tells us that we are in charge of this garden of life where true love grows. And if we sleep, remember last week, practitioner Carol told us not to go back to sleep. The song says, if we sleep with the spade in our hands, then we let this flower of love. Now it said, how can we sleep with a spade in our hands and let true love die for our fellow man? We are the gardeners, born to nurse the seed. And love dies if the gardener sleeps. You can play it, Sandy, but it's copyright copyright
Oh, yes,
issues.
yes, I hear
That
you.
is why.
Who's the group again?
The Staple Singers.
The Staple Singers. Hear the God now. Da, 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 da.
Yes.
Yeah, beautiful song.
Yeah. I usually kill that song, of course, because they named the gardener. that is one of the
So if we
reasons.
play it on YouTube, it's still copyright because I play things on YouTube.
No, if
for
we
the
share
public
it in the
forum,
service, if we share it in the
Oh, okay, I
service,
see. Understand.
yeah.
Thanks for that.
Because
I think
remember they
okay,
closed. Remember YouTube closed down Jennifer's service because
when she was showing Oprah something.
Oprah, yes,
Yes.
because she was showing Oprah, they closed down the service.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to take a chance, but
No,
most
no,
people, I think
understand
know that song.
Yeah, I remember it.
Yeah,
From in the 60s
yeah,
or early 70s. Yeah, man.
right. So Ernest Holmes, the founder of our teacher, told us there are two practices that allow us to become more of a gentle, loving presence. The first one was one that my father taught me when I was a little boy. He took me one side and told me the story that Ernest Holmes quoted in this month's Signs of Mine about the men came to Jesus and said that this lady committed adultery and the law of Moses required her to be stoned. So them say, no, Jesus, as a teacher, what you say, no, that the law said that we must stone this lady. What's your answer? So Jesus said, all right, if you want to stone her, all right. But he without sin can cast the first stone. And he wrote it in the sand, right? And I said, by the time he looked up, there was nobody there to throw in the stones, just the lady. So what Ernest Holmes was saying, that when we make mistakes, to remember there are words in the sand that are washed away by waves of compassion, you know? So that thing of being non-judgmental is a practice that helps us to be more loving and be more gentle. To realize that when you point a finger, as I said, there are four fingers pointing back at you. So be non-judgmental, you know? And Dawn asked, what about the man she committed the sin with? That's another story. I guess he is also forgiven also. So that's the second practice that Holmes spoke about, forgiveness, you know, ever forgiving. And we know that Jesus teaches us to forgive, 70 times 7, which is an infinite number of times, to constantly forgive and release any sin, anything that we think, because we know that forgiveness hurts the person holding the feelings even more than the person who we're holding feelings against. And of course, we need to forgive ourselves for all the mistakes we have made, to develop that gentle, loving presence. So we are the gardeners of this love within us. And by practicing non-judgment and forgiveness, there's this word that the Hawaiians use for Hawaiians practice. Ho'oponopono. Say it again, Sandy.
Ho'oponopono.
Right. I love you. I love you. Please forgive me. There are 4 sentences.
I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive
I'm
me.
sorry.
Thank you.
I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. Yeah. So just if you just keep saying those words, saying that practice to ourselves and to anyone that, as we say in Jamaica, that we are carrying feelings for, we just release those feelings. Because anything we impressed upon the law comes back to us. So let us plant the seeds of love, right? We are the gardeners to nurse that seed into full bloom. Because we know that love is ultimately the answer. So we are just here to be instruments of that love, that one love. So that is what I have to say this evening. I know comments, questions, anybody want to share any stories, demonstrations?
Mm.
Can you
You
hear
know,
me? Can you hear me, Vance?
yes, Denise.
Greetings from Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to let you know that you talked about Gardner. You are the name of this little talk is, could you tell me again? Gentle.
A gentle, loving presence.
Yeah, and you talked about you wanted to call it the garden and all the rest of it. But you are Vance Gardner and you have such a gentle, loving presence. So I just want to share that with you.
Mhm.
Enjoyed your talk.
Boy,
Yeah, you do.
thank you, Denise. Thank
Yeah.
you. But it's not me alone, you know. Not me. When I think about
But
a
just
gentle,
take it. Just
loving,
take it.
yeah, I
Just
know.
take it. Just
Yeah,
take it.
you know
Just
what?
take it.
Yeah, as you said, let me say talk something about just taking it. Because Reverend Michelle on Sunday said something that I found profound. It was a aha moment to me that giving and receiving is really, that's not how she put it, but how I understood it. Two sides of the same coin, part of the same law. The law of giving is the law of
Yeah.
receiving. So when you give up yourself, you must open yourself to receive the blessings, compliments, and things like that. So in that spirit, I accept it.
Good. Good.
I accept it. Yeah, that learning to receive is
That's
really a
right.
practice that
Yes.
I'm really trying. I'm working on that. I'm
Yes.
working on that. I'm
Yes.
working on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know,
But as I was saying though, many of us, almost everybody on this call, is a gentle, loving presence in your own way. Also think of like Carol Charlton. That's the first thing I think of when I think of Carol Charlton.
That's true.
Ivan Carty, you know. All right, let me not call it names because I can't call it.
You might leave out and you might leave out.
And you, Dennis, Sandy, everybody, you know, is a gentle, loving presence in their own way.
But may I say, Vance, as I say
Yeah.
thank you, that when in your opening remarks,
Yes.
I thought that you could well have named your you are a gardener in so many ways.
Yeah.
And as to shore up on what Denise said, you take your time with us. You take your time with me with technology, and you're allowing me to grow. So thank you.
Okay. Yeah, but that's a practitioner call, really, you know, whether you're licensed or not in this teaching. Because as well, I guess we'll come to the announcement, we'll announce it. But as Reverend Dr. Sone said that our teaching is really love in action. That is what is our teaching, you know. So that nursing and nurturing love, that is what practitioners are called to do.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
because love is the healing power, right?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
love is God, and
Mhm.
God does the work through each and every one of us in
Mhm.
that healing thing. It's just not to let negative thoughts, those weeds, come into our garden and mess it up after weed them out. You know,
No,
so that's how we throw out judgment and things like that, and carrying bad feelings and things like that.
you
Yes,
know,
Sandy.
the metaphor of the gardener and the garden and the soil and so on can never go stale for me.
Mhm.
Because, you know, and I'm going to say it on Sunday. So those of you who are here and will be there on Sunday morning, bear with me. That I really got a good example today of the value of a practitioner. There is a cherry tree growing underneath a mango tree, huge
Mhm.
mango tree at my home, in my backyard. And so when I lie in my bed and I look through the window, I'm seeing the leaves of the cherry tree. That's
Mhm.
grown maybe 12, 14 feet high. But it
Mhm.
bears some little tiny cherries, you know, and they fall off so easily. And I really don't benefit from that tree. I said, but Cynthia, you think if we put the hose at the foot of the cherry tree, it will grow? She said, maybe, you know, but probably not, because it is right under the mango tree, it don't get no sun.
Mhm.
And I think about many of us who are doing okay in our lives, our professional lives, our home life, relationship, etc. Finances are okay, but are we happy with just being okay?
Mhm.
Mhm.
With just bearing little tiny fruits?
Mhm.
If we're not getting the full sun, and we're
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
getting water, we're not getting the nutrients that will nurture our ability to thrive. I mean, nothing is wrong, you know, we're not in pain, we're not having any heartache, we're not
Mhm.
broke and about to go to the poorhouse, as my mother would call it, but we're not thriving either.
That's
So
Yeah.
right.
the practitioner can really maybe wipe off the soot off the window. So as Jimmy Cliff, what name is not Johnny Nash would say, we can see clearly now,
Mhm.
able to experience greater fullness and richness of the life abundant that we have been promised.
Mm. Mm. Hmm.
Yeah.
That's beautiful, Sandy.
Mhm. But this metaphor of the gardener
Mm.
also goes to what Reverend Michelle was saying on the Sunday about taking it to the streets.
Mhm.
Because the song says, how can we sleep with a spade in our hand
Mhm.
and let love die for our fellow man? So
That's
that,
right.
yeah, you know, we have to do the work, and we have to take it. We can no longer just be the best kept secret.
Mm.
You know, we have to take it to the streets, highways, byways.
So
And
perhaps it could be like transplanting the cherry tree to the sun, a sunnier spot,
There you go.
exactly,
you know?
exactly.
And
Kind of big though.
right,
It
right.
it would maybe need a crane to dig it up.
Perhaps to ask somebody to prune back the mango tree.
Exactly.
All
That I was
that.
going to tell you that a trained gardener would know what to do.
Just prune
Mhm.
it back. Yes, yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes.
And then you can't please everybody, you know, because doing that now would bring in the evening sun into my room, which makes it very hot.
Yeah.
So
Yes, I forget something to kind of block out
Mhm.
the sun.
yeah.
Maybe the cherry tree will grow up and provide some shade,
Yes,
and the two
definitely.
can coexist.
Yes, for
But
sure.
Yeah.
one could also say that the cherry tree is serving its purpose the way it is now. It was not intended to be fruit bearing. The fruits that you see are just to indicate that it's still a cherry tree. But its
Mhm.
purpose is to its purpose it is serving is to keep you cooler. So
Ah.
accept it
All that.
And
but
that's certain
but
about that
but
argument.
if I may say something more about what Reverend Michelle suggested on Sunday.
Yes.
You know, we have been, as you say, keeping ourselves um as the best kept secret. But guess what happened? We had to work upon ourselves before. We had to
Yes.
come to a
Yes.
place of confidence that allow us that places has now become the platform on which we can stand, but we didn't have it before. It was shaky under our feet, and so we're growing into our own. And are we? I'm not going to give it the perfect tense yet. We have grown, or we have grown into our own. Yes, it is perfect. We have grown into our own and are now able to take our stand for who we are.
Yeah, well said.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you, Carl. You know that outlook came to me in meditation when I was contemplating this. And I agree with you. I agree with you. Same thing came
Because
to me from spirit, yeah. So you
yeah,
have to
because
work on yourself. Yeah,
yeah,
you have to get ready before you take it to the streets. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because we probably figured that you would be tossed and blown by all the call it the critics before,
Mm-hmm.
because you were not fully grounded, but you
Mm-hmm.
are becoming that now.
Mm-hmm.
So and once you're becoming who you are, then you can begin to show your colors.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right. With that, I'm complete.
Mm-hmm. But more and more, what I'm finding out, even when you listen to songs and so on, a lot of our ideas in New Thought are shared by progressive, positive spirituality in however it expresses itself. Some forms of Christianity, some form of Zen Buddhism, all of these other things. A lot of have the same idea of universal love and things like that, and helping each other, encouraging people to be the best they can be, finding their purpose, living their purpose, giving back and things like that, you know? So that and so that everything in its time, in the fullness of time, so that and if not know when, because now is definitely the time, given the state that the race is at and the issues that we are facing.
That's true. That is true. That is true.
Yeah, so perhaps the question we know each of us had to ask each other is, how does your garden grow?
Look at me, required contrary.
With silver bells and cockle shells and pretty maids all in a row. Boy, life was so idyllic at one point. And we now create the idyllicness, if there's such a word, by our actions and how we garden, how we
Right.
nurture our garden at this time. There's no one on. I'm just thinking about the time. It's now 23 minutes to 6 to 7.
So prayer requests.
None on YouTube. So folks who are listening on YouTube, please feel free to write in your prayer requests. and those of you who are listening online to do the same.
I can't write. That's why I have a prayer request, but I
Yeah, you
can't.
can just say
I
it. You
can't
can
write.
just say
I
it.
can't write because my I don't know. I use the system I use doesn't allow me to. It says I have to find out. I have to talk to you, Vance. I'll call
Yeah,
you
but just tell me the
privately.
just tell me the prayer request.
I'm just asking you. I had a terrible fall 2 weeks ago, the day after I got back here.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, very serious, and I had to be taken to the hospital by the paramedics and the ambulance, and it was awful, awful. And I truly thought that was it. I did not think I would recover. It was so forceful, and I hit my head very badly. But the miracle of it, I'm just praying to give thanks and continued health for myself, because I want to thank my Temple family, because I had to have 2 CAT scans and an MRI. And the MRI was approximately nearly 90 minutes long. And I don't know if anybody has ever been locked up in that machine.
Yes, indeed.
It is quite terrifying. So what I did was I went in and I began with my spiritual practice. But what happened was, coming and sitting with me in that machine was Steve playing his guitar. Rev John came. Noel Chisholm came and sat down. Lots of people. All Janet came. Reverend Anne. It was incredible. It was like a vision. Not people that they're my Temple family, if you understand what I'm saying. It's not like the people that I know best at Temple. I have a list of who came in, and I will share that when I come back home. But they did not pray, which was very interesting. You know what they did? They laughed and chatted the way we laugh and chat, sit down under the tree in the garden. That's all they did. No prayers. They just held my hand and laughed and gave jokes. And I don't know, it was the most miraculous and wonderful experience. And I want to thank you and to say I'm not able to do much. I'm back home, but I'm not able to do too much until whatever lick settle down. But I want to just ask for prayers and to say thank you. It was really my spiritual Temple of Light, Temple family that held me together. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your testimony, Denise. Yeah, that is really a moving testimony, of how we support each other.
Yeah.
And prayer don't have to necessarily be a 5-step treatment, Prayer is just knowing the truth about somebody.
It was
So
in love ourselves.
even the laughter, so is a form of prayer within itself. Yeah. So we have Thanksgiving for Denise.
So I have health for Denise and Dawn, and you can do Thanksgiving in that too. Right action for Carol and Dawn, specifically for the sale of her home, of her home. And then love also for Dawn.
Okay.
There's another coming up here. Dawn is saying laughter is therapy. Definitely, Dawn.
Yes. There is look on YouTube, Sadie. I think there may be some comment or a request.
Hold on, just give me a minute. YouTube. Colin Brown, to develop patience. Colin Brown, My request is to develop patience and my wife and I to develop a better and harmonious relationship. So you can include Colin and his wife with regards to love.
And
You can
light.
also add Jennifer for right action.
Okay.
And yes, for Colin for light as well.
All right. So, all right.
Have them down?
What I'm going to do, then, all right, because it's quite a bit.
Yes.
I'm going to do Denise first, and then
And
you
Dawn.
tell me who else for right action.
Denise and Dawn for health.
Right. I mean, health and Thanksgiving.
Yes.
For Denise and Dawn. So, affirmative prayer of health and Thanksgiving for Dawn, Denise, and everyone who is open and receptive. So we recognize the living Spirit Almighty, that which is perfect, whole, and complete. And we know that this one expresses itself through all creation. It expresses in Denise, it expresses in Dawn, it expresses in everyone who is open and receptive to this perfect, gentle, loving presence that heals. So I'm knowing that anything unlike this perfection is now dissolved into nothingness from which it came. And perfect health is revealed in all aspects of being of Denise, Dawn, and everyone who is open and receptive. And in this acceptance of perfection, we give thanks. We give thanks for spirit. We give thanks for the works of spirit. We give thanks for the marvel of spirit, providing support when needed. That heals naturally, easily, effortlessly. So in the spirit of thanksgiving, we know spirit does its perfect work. And the truth is now revealed. Dawn, Denise, and all who are open and receptive. Perfect God, perfect person, perfect expression. I know this, I believe this. And I know that these words cannot return to me void, but do the work unto which they have been sent. And I give thanks. I give thanks that all this is so, and so it is.
And so it is.
So it is. All right, you can look at right action now for Carol, for Dawn with the sale of her property, and for Jennifer.
Just general right action for Jennifer.
Yes, she just asked for right action.
Okay, so Dawn, Carol, and Jennifer.
Yes.
Okay. So we recognize God, the living Spirit Almighty, the one which is omniscience, omnipotence, omnipresence. And I know that we are all one with God. We are all expressions of this one. I know this for Jennifer. I know this for Carol. I know this for Dawn. I know this for everyone who just allows spirit to express itself, to guide all actions, all activity. And in this consciousness of allowing and aligning with spirit, I know right action is established in their lives and in their affairs. I know it in the sale of property for the right buyer, right price, right time. I know it in all activities. They know what to do, how to do it, when to do it. And I know that in all activities, spirit relates to spirit, and everything unfolds in perfect divine order, irrespective of how things may appear. So I know that the law works perfectly, and right action brings success in all their activities. And they can declare it good and very, very good. And for this, I am thankful. And I just release these words now to that law that makes it so. And so it is.
It is.
And so it is. Thank you. Thank you.
So,
Love.
yes, love for Dawn
Mhm.
and for a greater,
It's called,
yes, develop a better and harmonious relationship between Colin and his wife.
Colin and his wife.
Yes.
So it's Dawn and Colin and his wife.
Right.
And everybody for more love.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you recognize God is love, the one love. The one love that is spirit giving itself, knowing itself as each and every one of us, knowing itself as Colin, knowing itself as his partner, knowing itself as Dawn, knowing itself as everyone who is open and receptive to this love. So we are gardeners of this love. We nurse this love, we nurture this love, and it blooms into happiness, it blooms into fulfillment, it blooms into joy beyond words. And I'm knowing this for Colin and his partner. I'm knowing that this love, this deep, speaking to deep, this heart, touching each other, blossoms into the releasing of anything unlike love. It is given and forgiven, and it grows into just wonderful, glorious experiences of sharing and fulfillment. I know this for Dawn. I know this for everyone who is open and receptive to this healing power of love. Love. Love, oh love, so wonderful, so glorious. It is us at our deepest level, and we just allow it. We just nurture it and nurse it into fulfillment. So I give thanks for this love. And I just release these words onto their own fulfillment, because love is the fulfillment of the law. I know that this is so, and so it is.
So it is.
The last one is for Colin, for patience, the request to develop patience.
Yes.
And you talked about light.
Yes.
Treatment light.
Yes. So know with me now that God is light. That light, which is omniscience, that light, which is wisdom beyond our understanding, that light which comes to us through intuition. So I know that Colin is open and receptive to this light. And in this light, the knowing that everything unfolds in perfect divine timing. So in this awareness now, patience is expressed. Because this light now guides every decision, every activity, in the knowing that all things come in time, right way. I know this for Colin. I know this for his experience. And I know he just allows this light to guide him, to be the lamp unto his feet in all that he does. And he's led into the path of right useness of this law of life. And it is truly glorious. So I give thanks. I give thanks. I just release these words unto that law that makes it so, and so it is.
And so it
And so it
is.
Mm.
Okay. Right.
Okay.
Find.
So we have some reminders. Sandy,
Yes,
you could
I'm
just
looking for that just now. Mhm. Okay. So folks, I'd just like to talk a little bit about our upcoming practitioners forum on Sunday, the Sunday coming April 28th. I'm a big advocate for the support of the practitioner, having been helped so very deeply in my own life. With Kevin being away, and the challenges that he has had, my personal life, financial affairs, health, I've fallen a couple of times and it was very scary. So Denise, I can appreciate what you're going through.
Yes.
Just the power when I felt like I was like falling apart, or
Yeah.
I know it in my head, but I just couldn't act. I couldn't pray. A practitioner, or the practitioners I spoke to really made a difference in my life. So we invite you to come to Temple on Sunday, those of you who are around and available, to stay behind after the service, to allow a practitioner to pray with you. If you're online, there will be someone available that will be able to connect by phone. And for those of you who come to Temple, we will have a couple of practitioners in various places who will be able to pray with you. So if you want to have that wonderful power of affirmative prayer for you, as Vance did just now, to look at health of mind, body, and spirit, clarity of the direction, success, abundant living, expanded awareness, personal transformation. If you want your cherry tree to bear abundantly huge, big, juicy fruits, let us just avail ourselves of the practitioner's consciousness this Sunday, April 28th. And
okay. Lifeline.
Yes.
CSL Now and Beyond, what's your role? And we have our spiritual leader. So this is a lifeline that you should not miss. I don't know how many of you have heard Reverend Dr. Soni speak, but I was listening to her inaugural address when she came in. It's really a moving, very, very moving. And you could just
What's her
talk
name,
about
Vance?
Reverend Dr. Soni Cantrell Smith.
Okay, Cantrell Smith. Okay.
Yeah. And she's such a gentle, loving presence. We talk about that gentle, loving presence. And because she was able to, as you say, build a center in not the best soil, but just due to, she was really a gardener there, building up that center, just through being so grounded in spirit. And our call to action in terms of spiritual activism and just being love, showing up as God for the community as love is really something not to be missed, So come on Thursday at 6 o'clock for Lifeline.
Okay. Thank you.
And then on May 4th and 18th, from 11 to 1, oops, sorry. We're going to have the blessing of, hold on, sorry, this thing is on automatic, gosh. We're going to
Yeah.
have a number of legal luminaries providing legal services for anyone who wants to have the blessing, it's the blessing of an attorney's, you know, what is it now, knowledge and skills. So we have answers, attorneys will be available, free to all residents of Kingston and anyone else who would like to ask questions. And it's a free community outreach service.
When,
Okay.
Sandy? When?
This is on the 4th and the 18th of May,
4th and
Right.
18th.
from 11 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
Because on the 11th of May, we have This Is How We Pray with Reverend Michelle from 10 to 4. And the cost is $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an experiential prayer workshop.
Can
So
I just
please-
add? Can I add something to the legal thing?
Mm-hmm.
I noticed on Sunday there was a lot of advertising of the legal thing, but I'm wondering, there are many people who do not know the importance of wills,
Oh, yes.
and I thought perhaps Sandy could add that in to
Yeah,
the
man, 'cause
No, they'll definitely deal with that.
A
in
lot
terms
of people-
just having people interested in coming.
well, yeah, but they don't. One of the big drawing things you could point out to them is the importance of getting advice as to how to legally provide for the people
Mhm.
for their end of life, as
Mhm.
well as
Yeah,
the
man,
people they're leaving behind.
sure.
And also,
Estate planning.
and also, I
SDN.
think that we probably haven't explored enough, leaving a legacy for the temple. You know,
Mhm.
that we can still give even when we have transitioned by leaving a legacy for the
That's-
temple.
But a lot of people don't understand that even to get into the bank accounts, you need a legal document.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot of my friends who are my age have not really done anything. They said they're going to do it, but it was brought home to me 2 weeks ago how quickly we could leave.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not enough to have the other person's name on the account.
No. We really need to look at that legally. Have a living will also, if anything happens to you.
Mm-hmm.
Who tells the doctor? Who can give the doctor permission? You know,
Yes.
you need to have a name that they have, and that person can say, "Oh no, she cannot do this," or give her. It's called end of life medical,
Mm-hmm.
because you might not be able to speak.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then this, we've complete with this
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So if you feel moved to support our ministry, please
Mhm.
feel free to donate at donate.templeoflightcsl.org. For those watching on YouTube, there is a donate button on the channel, which you can press, which would lead you to donate.templeoflightcsl.org. And thank you for your generosity and for helping us to be a beacon of light for the world.
Mhm.
So just before we give, we usually say this blessing, lovingly I give,
Joyfully
joyfully I receive. Be thou fruitful, increase and multiply. Bless, prosper and enrich everyone whom you touch, and replenish all of my financial affairs.
So be it.
Thank you, Father,
So it is.
and so it is. And so now, let us together just say the prayer of our center. Temple of Light, Center for Spiritual Living, sacred field embodying our spiritual community from which Christ, peace, love, and joy emanate, to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of Christ illumines us, the center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God be the honor and glory forever. And so it is. Another prayer of our center. Sorry, of Jamaica, prayer of Jamaica. The radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island, Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life which set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established. And so it is. And so we give thanks for this sharing this afternoon. We give thanks to the living Spirit Almighty, expressing as each and every one who participate in this afternoon. And I know that everyone who leaves here nourishes, nurses, and allow that presence, which is love, to grow into a fuller expression within their lives and within their affairs. We are the gardeners who will keep love alive. Because love cannot die, but we keep love alive in the experience of everyone within our presence. So I know as we leave and go to our seemingly separate activities, we go as one. We know that God is our journey. God is our destination. So it's all good and very, very good. And I know that this is so. And so it is.
It is. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Dawn was asking how long will the after church last? Well, we finish church at 10. By the time we gather to, I guess we'll set up the table for the practitioners right after. So I would imagine that perhaps for an hour after church, Dawn. So I would say till latest, maybe 11:15, 11:30.
Yeah, we'll see.
Thank you, Sandy. I hope I'll be able to make it back.
Yeah,
it's an appointment I have, so I can't change it.
Sure, I understand.
I had to wait a while to get the appointment.
I hear you. Yeah, man. Everything in divine order, okay?
Yes, all in divine order.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay, so thanks to everyone who joined us.
Thank you, Vance. You did a wonderful job.
This was wonderful.
Yeah. And namaste, everyone.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste, Vance. Thank you.